Premature. Your
All
favorite
right.
word.
Good morning, everyone. It's the end of April, April 30th. I'm so happy to have all you guys here today as we're going to go ahead and head into May. And this is now the peak selling season for listing buying activity. So I really want to inspire you guys. Let's get some momentum. Let's get some sales. Let's get talk to more buyers and sellers about real estate. So hopefully we'll have some good headlines to talk about. And as always, I really appreciate all our affiliates for joining us in today's sales meeting. Talk to us what's going on in your industry, in your field, updates. And so, Scott, I'll have you, if you don't mind, start us off and greet with Financial,
Not
the financial
Lincoln.
side. Journey
Journey
Financial
Mortgage
side.
Advisors. Same thing. Same thing because we're a broker, so we have access to all the lenders, so it doesn't matter. What you can call me, whatever you want to call me. Anyway, yeah, so thanks for letting the affiliates participate in your meeting. Very much appreciated. All right, so I want to talk about reverse mortgage today. Okay, people are sleeping on reverse mortgages, but don't sleep on reverse mortgages. The reason why is if you have someone who's like over 62 and they have some kids and they're trying to help the kids to buy a house with a down payment and they're house rich and maybe they retired so they can't qualify for a loan to do a cash out or something like that, right? You could use a reverse mortgage to pull money out of the house without really you don't really have to qualify from an income standpoint. Just have to have enough equity in your house. And so what that does is if they have a current mortgage, the person could stop having a mortgage payment. They still have to pay their taxes and insurance, but they stop paying mortgage and they pull money out, give this money to the kid as a gift for a down payment because some of the guys that are out there they're making money but they can't put a good down payment together in order for them to like eliminate PMI and things like that. So if you have anybody out there that's making money and then they're complaining that they don't have enough money to put for a down payment, then you could bring that up and then just tell them like you don't have to be an expert at this. In fact, don't be an expert at it. Just be an expert at selling real estate. Just tell him, call my buddy Scott. He'll talk to you and see if there's some kind of way to, get this money out of the house, help the kid buy another house, and help the person with the cash flow too. So this is like an hour presentation. I'm trying to give it to you in like 2 minutes, but hopefully I got the point across. If you have anybody out there like that needing down payment, like let me talk to them and then I'll ask them all the questions to see if, that might be the way to go, or there might be other ways for them to go HELOC, different ways to go. But yeah, it's don't sleep on reverse mortgages. That's my message for the day.
Okay. In your opinion, is that route asking someone else to support you? Would that be a low down payment but has a good job person better off going in the shared appreciation program with the state
Well, okay, so the shared appreciation program with the state could be good,
or the
but
dream program?
yeah, you have to win the lottery to
Hmm.
get that, right? So those are few and far between. So you got to get lucky. So this way you could have 100% control potentially.
Hmm.
And but I mean okay, so this is what I always say. I always say like I'm going to tell you all these different solutions, and the person who's making, the person, it's their decision what they want to do because the shared appreciation program could be good, but it could be a situation where the parents are like, hey, why you want to share with the state when we could take the appreciation all together as a family? You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
but but if you win that shared appreciation program, that's pretty good to get like 20%, of a down payment, like pretty much as a interest-free loan, right?
Hmm.
So I guess the answer to that question is it depends. I don't want to not answer the question,
It's
but
your
it
pro.
depends
They
on
all have their pros and cons, and that's
yeah,
why you need a
exactly.
consultant to guide the client on the scenarios and kind of explore the options. And some people don't even have that family help to count on. So it's really good to, share and talk. I appreciate your thoughts on that. Anything else?
No, that's it for this week. Thank you very
Okay.
much again.
All right. Scott with Journey Mortgage. Angie, we're going to start with you next. I'll have First American, our Eagle over here, talk to us about the title side of things.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna pull over real quick. Okay, cool. Hi everyone, Angie Tang, First American Title. I'm doing two things at one time as usual. So I wanted to talk a little bit about fraud. So fraud is always on a rise, and it's happening more and more. It's more and more prevalent. One of the reasons why is because AI is becoming more and more incorporated into our real estate market. So there's been some crazy stuff going on with fraud. So there was a power of attorney that um, was trying to be fraudulently used, and we ended up catching that the signatures weren't the same. There's another one that I'm working on right now that is a remote online notary as well. And the remote online notary, they failed to tell us that one, the guy who's trying to sign the power of attorney went through a stroke. Secondly, they didn't tell us either when we were booking the Ron, is that they can't speak English. So it's fine that they can't speak English. It's fine that they are gone into a stroke. But when you don't tell us things ahead of time, it looks really suspicious. So when we finally set up the appointment and we were able to get on the call, he couldn't answer any of the verification questions to verify who he was as a person. So of course, they said sometimes he's more cognizant than other times. And so they try to rebook the appointment. So now we're trying to rebook the appointment, and everyone's getting frustrated because how do we know when he's cognizant of mine and when he's not? Like when can he answer the questions? Like how many times do we have to book the Ron and he just can't answer. So there's a lot of things that come into play. Let us be the ones to let you know ahead of time. Like tell us ahead of time so we can be weary of what to expect. That way we can have a much more smooth and fluid transaction. Because when you give us things like last moment, then we're trying to struggle, and it seems like somewhat, somewhat suspicious because you all of a sudden tell us that he can't speak English, he just had a stroke, he can't sign, then it becomes really problematic. So just keep us in communication with everything that you know that's happening, because the last thing you want is to close on a file that's fraudulent. And escrow and I are always at the front of the line, making sure that all these things that we can catch are caught before we actually insure it. Because even if there is title insurance, guess what? Everybody gets pulled into litigation, and that's not what we want. And Kelvin's definitely not going to want that because he's going to have to tap into his insurance. So let's just all work diligently together, communicate well. That way we can close those files and not have to worry. So here to help you grow your business and insure it, Angie Tang, First American Title. Thank you, Kelvin. Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us.
for sharing that, and I appreciate you giving all the wisdom so we don't become victimized ourselves with all the fraud and crime. And I have people going in Facebook, creating accounts and sending people for gift cards.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I feel my phone is always getting like 5 to 10 spam calls a day
Yeah.
from international overseas people, someone's wanting me to sell my house, and it's just annoying. I don't know. Okay, our next was Brandon, and then we'll do Sandy after that. Brandon, you have the floor. Talk to us about NHD. What's going on?
Thanks, Kelvin.
You're welcome.
So, obviously, right now the big thing is the fire zones have expanded. So all of you know that March 24th we had expansion of the fire zones in LA County. So it was the fourth phase of that expansion. And what does that mean for you as agents? That just means that one, they have 120 days for those cities to adopt those new maps, but we have included that stuff in our reports already just to make sure that any of that information that the fire department, they're going to have that updated, but they're still going to be doing these inspections if it's in a high or very high severity zone. They're just saying we need time to adopt it, which means they just need time to update their information to be able to then go in and be able to do those inspections. But the other thing is, this means that there's probably going to be more homes that are affected, which means that you really need to start as soon as you get these listings or as soon as you get with your buyers to start having conversations with insurance. So order the NHD as soon as you get a listing, or when you are on the buyer side, make sure if it hasn't been ordered, order the NHD with us, or get that NHD information so that then you can talk talk to your lenders, you can talk to everybody insurance wise to make sure you're on top of that. If you don't do that, obviously we know that can affect the transaction and slow it up. We don't want that to happen. I always say that you really want to make sure that you're doing this as soon as you get your listing with the prelim, so you can find out the tax information. And then the last thing I was going to mention is you guys are a Crest office, so Angie talks about E&O insurance. Sandy and I both can help you. So I can provide 25,000. Sandy provides 50, so it's $75,000 of extra coverage just for being a Crest office. Whenever you order with us, you do have to specify Crest so that we make sure that we order that. And again, then you'll get that $25,000 from us, 50 from Sandy, 75,000. That is an amazing deal for you guys. So reach out to us, and I'll pass it off to Sandy.
Great, thank you. Sandy, you have the floor. And I did.
Beautiful segue. Nicely done, Brandon.
Go
But I
ahead.
want to touch back on what Angie said really quickly. I'm dealing with my in-laws right now, and my mother-in-law is showing some cognitive decline, and we wanted to get a durable power of attorney before it became past time to get a durable power of attorney, right? You know what I'm trying to say. And I found out that if you're trying to get things notarized, it's the notary's obligation to walk away from a signing if that person's not able to understand what they're signing. So my advice to everybody is do it sooner rather than later. If you've got to do what you got to do, because we're finding this out the hard way, that some things are maybe a little too late. Anywho, so be careful with that stuff. Let's talk Crest. Brandon's 100% correct. It is the one thing you guys need to do to protect yourselves and your clients that costs you nothing. And it's something you have to do anyway. You have to pull the NHD. There's $25,000 sitting in the bank. Fantastic if something happens. The home warranty adds $50,000 to your client and offers you the agent reduced deductible of $5,000. So you don't get that from the NHD. That's only from the home warranty. But again, that's the best way to protect your seller, and that's your obligation, is to do your very best for your sellers. Always get the NHD, make sure it's Crest. Provide a home warranty that protects your sellers. And that the best way to do that is to do Crest, because then if something happens, God forbid, we will be there with $75,000 of legal assistance to help solve whatever issues happen after the close, up to the first 6 months. If they need longer than 6 months, it's doable, but it costs $200. But we are your experts in this, and let the Eagles, Angie, Brandon, and myself, help your clients protect their nests. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you so much, Sandy, for sharing that. And I want to expand on the fire zones because I did want to introduce it. I shared the link to you guys that if you wanted to compare our region here in the 626, Greater San Gabriel Valley area, I can kind of give you a picture of what it used to be like back in our fire zone maps. As you can see, La Cañada is all over, is red. All the upper foothills north of the 210. This is the old maps of 626. Now, once they updated the maps, you can see that they've added yellow and orange areas. You see this area right here in West Covina. This appears to have now just completely become a lot more red and orange, which is high and very high. So as you see, we go across the map, just they're adding extra, maybe a few quarter blocks or whatnot around all the existing zones. All of these people that are newly in the yellow or orange or red now probably have higher risk, higher insurance premiums, and are going to be impacted with the state, all the insurance companies in either rising risk prices or being asked to terminate and non-renewals. So that's just want to give you the idea that you can use this map. You can search any address with the link that I shared, because as you can see, there's going to be different rollout phases of when they're going to implement certain sections going to become high or very high too as well. So you can play around with this. You can also probably see this in the Pacific Palisades as well, how this has been impacted. You can see quite a bit of homes have been added now into the new fire zones. Okay, so just helping you get that resource available so you can be a little bit more productive and consult your clients, have them answer the fire hardening defensible space form in advance. And if you are in the moderate areas, I would still fill out the FHDS forms just to really give the clients an idea that in the future it potentially could fall under additional home requirements of maintenance and making sure you just build a defensible areas to ensure that your house doesn't burn down. So as the community and LA continues to work towards rebuilding, it's going to be a time of concern, and I want to talk a little about the market itself. So, obviously, we know the Pacific Palisades, Eden Canyon fire victims are all being offered an opportunity to fast track their new rebuild if they choose to do so. So, as some insurance carriers begin to maybe roll out some payments or settlements and claims and honoring these payouts, you definitely will start to see a rise in activity in rebuilding. Okay. Now, rebuilding does not have to be necessarily done by the owner itself. We're starting to see in the MLS that a lot of these vacant lots are now going for sale. And new builders, new people who want to be having a fresh new home and rebuild and being in a very top tier, great views type of area, maybe you talk to your buyers about considering buying a house and building their own dream custom home. That's something that you can buy and look for. Maybe there should be about 100 lots for sale, or give or take, in these fire zones, and that's something that some people who are discouraged from buying or don't want to buy something that's sitting on the market because it takes too much time to work to go, they could buy something in the in the fire zones that has been a victim and fast track the permit process. That's the point I'm trying to make. So the county is, as long as they stay within 10% of the gross living area of what was existing prior, the existing homeowner or the new homeowner can still both get that benefit. Okay, so you can go over the counter, fast track your application, start rebuilding soon, and customizing a dream home. Okay, why would they do it today? Why do it now? There are questions to answer. Are the utilities working in the area? Do they still have power, water, electricity, everything services running? So you do have to locally find out if certain areas are able to rebuild yet. I know there's still LA County workers on strike who are employed to do the cleanup and to kind of demo and take out some of the ash in some of the areas. So in LA County, the past 2 days, we've many county workers in certain fields have been on strike for unfair labor practices. But at the same time, I do believe that the cities will eventually get to. That's a high demand right now. Is to get a priority is to get all these lots cleared. Okay. So think outside the box. Think about how you can make, even for yourself or your investors or people who are looking into and wanting to 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 have that dream home. This might be a really good possibility to be in a great area, to get something with a good lot, and to rebuild quickly. If you are going to expand greater than 10% of the existing home, then you still have to go through the normal application process and still submit, your normal application and permits application and getting the lot cleared. So just keep that in mind as an option for where to get more sales. Okay, so second thing to keep in mind is obviously your insurance premiums. I know State Farm itself has announced that they're going to be raising rates, even if you're not in a fire zone. Their reserves are being damaged tremendously. In order for State Farm to stay afloat, they're raising premiums across all policy holders. So they're one of the largest in California, I got a notice that of a rate increase, and it's just managing your home and making sure you understand that for so many decades, California has had very reasonable, low insurance premiums. So it's something that we took for granted. Okay. But I do look at insurance in other states, and they are much higher than what we're paying here in California for whatever reason or not. But at the same, so we're gonna have to now fight that bullet and expect inflated prices on premiums and inflated prices on all of our tariffs that are on our goods that are being taxed now by the presidency. I know we're at a 90-day kind of watch window to see what countries are going to bargain and negotiate with our government. So as people rebuild, please make sure you're kind of having the conversation with your clients about the timing of rebuilding, the timing of your construction, because you have to factor not only is it the goods, the cost of lumber, steel, and drywall, and all the materials that go into making and building a home. These are gonna probably be at, 10 to 20% raised prices or more based on supply and demand. And since many materials do still come from overseas and they come from China, and there is some negotiation battles going on in trade, I do anticipate that certain items will be harder to find or cost a lot more. And so you have to factor a more larger, big picture, best case, middle case, worst case scenario on your budget. Okay, so don't just go blindly and say, "Oh, I want to spend 50,000 and remodel this house." You kind of have to factor, I need just in case maybe 70,000 if everything goes up by 20%, and then have a worst case scenario. These are all things to factor if you want to really be planning ahead. Mm. So whenever it comes to the materials itself, that's even only one component because we do source a lot of stuff like chips from overseas. We do receive a lot of goods and manufacturing. All of that stuff is overseas, and it'll take years and years before America becomes more of a manufacturing area. So therefore, just be judicious on how you spend. Look at, the prices. I know everyone's price sensitive. Even Amazon is going to be announcing that they're sh going to be sharing the cost of the price, and they're going to say how much of that is related to the tariffs going on, and they're going to have transparency on the tariffs price on the price of the goods. So that mentally does create some type of consumer mentality that no, the overseas people aren't paying for the tariffs. It ends up in reality the consumer who's paying the higher prices of tariffs. And so I think that mentality with this transparency and all of this will create a lot of volatile situations in the markets, in real estate, in cost of construction, and that's why you see a lot of investors, a lot of hedge funds, a lot of capital from all the institutional investors. They're kind of sitting on their cash. They're not making large moves. Their businesses are being very cautious on expansion, on employment, and waiting until there's a little bit more clarity. So I think you'll see that kind of general feeling and sentiment that our economy can burst at any time. We're very what you call sensitive right now, and consumer sentiment in spending has significantly waned away in terms of confidence. So you see the consumer confidence is weakening in terms of the economy. I think 2 days ago, JP Morgan Chase just announced that we have a 90% chance of a recession, and that was raised from I think a 40 to 60% chance. So the recent wave of concern, even though the markets have rebounded back, I do feel that we should be sharing that general understanding that businesses, employment, labor, consumer spending, these are going to make an impact in real estate in one way or another. I didn't even factor the labor of construction. So if you're going to rebuild and the labor and finding, do you know that if you have, for example, 100 homes that are in the process of pulling their permit and finally they got their permits fast tracked, do you think there's 100 roofers, 100 foundation specialists, 100 concrete pourers that are gonna be available, ready and willing right now? There's only a few companies and people that specialize in these in very specific types of projects. So I would anticipate that there's going to be still some delays in contractors and specific laborers who are, you know, experts in what they do, especially if you're building in the foothills. You're gonna have to find someone who's going to build you a retaining wall, for example, and pouring that concrete and getting enough material and mix. And those trucks are gonna be more high in demand. So if you're building along with 100 other home builders at the same time, that is going to probably cost higher on the labor and more wasted time on waiting for their schedule to clear up. Okay? So just giving you the overall big picture and things to factor when rebuilding. Because I know a lot of people are in the mindset to rebuild, and sure, they get the permit fast tracked, but they do need to plan for a really good plan ahead and start having discussions and putting in deposits or negotiating contracts, putting deadlines on their contracts that must be met by the contractor. Things to factor when you're out there and helping your consulting your clients, because obviously we're not contractors ourselves, but you can recommend ways to structure their contracts and be very helpful in their rebuilding process. Okay, just giving you that idea. Any questions right now? I'm gonna let you know Sylvia is currently and Mark are both in Sacramento lobbying for our behalves is the CAR director. So she is not here this week and will hopefully report back to us at the next sales meeting some of the hot topics going on in the legislative side of real estate. I'm sure there's always every year on the ballot, there's always some real estate or housing issues, landlord and tenant rights being voted on. And so I do think it's important to stay up to date and afloat, and very happy to have Sylvia represent us, and we'll bring back some news. Okay. So that's why she's not here this week. There's no training tomorrow as well, Thursday on purpose. So we're gonna be having no Thursday lunch and learn. Just giving you an FYI. I did not put together a full set of PowerPoint slides. Instead, we're going to do this by some of the news that's going on from CAR as well as some of the classes available to you. Okay. Hopefully you guys see my screen right now. And in terms of statistics of licensees and examinees, recently I did help one of our agents remove discipline action uh, from her license. And that, how did you do that? You had to do that by a process, setting an application and waiting 10 years of discipline to be before you can request to remove it on your record. So if you do have any action against you, you have to wait a 10-year period. Just letting you know that here are the latest statistics from the Department of Real Estate, and I'll make it a little bit bigger. And as you can see, in terms of data from 2025, this is the most recent population of licensees. Okay. Roughly in terms of brokers, it's been almost the same. It's 1 year ago, there's 124,000 brokers. Now it's 121,000. Same thing, 310,000 licensees versus 307,000 licensees. So, but we're starting to find that in terms of the people looking to obtain their license, we have it's things are not really changed too much. So, just giving you a general idea, but the state of California has a total of about 429,000 total licensees, and a vast majority of it are salespeople. And so you're starting to see, but I'm believing that in the next 12 months, I do suspect many licensees will be either retiring the industry, or in the next 12 months they're going to be exiting because they're frustrated or just found another job. I do see that sales and the process of getting a buyer broker agreement signed, some of these people are just didn't sign up for that. Some people are just not cut out for it. I do think that with some agents leaving and exiting the industry, it does leave more value for you who are staying aboard, who are running your course and running your business and just adapting. So just to give you an idea of what the licensee looks like, that was the latest statistics. But the other update was going to be the market update. So the market update here, we are starting to see drastic fluctuations in the mortgage rates. It's been tough to get a loan, and obviously it's still been near 6.75 to 7% for quite too long. So because of that, sales volume has been what it is, relatively slower overall compared to pre-pandemic, for example. So you do see pending sales are dipping last month. You are seeing a sluggish start to the spring home buying season. And overall, we're starting to see active listings inventory rising. You're starting to see a little bit longer days on market. In California, the average days on market is roughly 28 days on market, and then that's the entire state. So obviously, this is typically much longer than when in 2021 and 22 things were on average selling 7 to 9 days on market. Just to give you a drastic comparison of the climate, of the confidence in real estate is a lot weaker right now, or just the confidence of the consumer. They're not shopping right now. So that is the best time to buy, just to give you another spin on perspective. Because in 2021 and 22, when everyone was buying and you had 20, 30 people in the pandemic lining up outside the doors just to go in an open house, that put a lot of pressure and activity on the price, because when people loved that home and they waited an hour to see it, they wrote an offer. You had 30 offers on the table during the 2021-22 period, and that created drastic price movement of counter offers where people were paying 250,000 above asking price, or 100,000 above asking price, and they're winning the bids because of the demand and the shortage of inventory. Fast forward just a short 2, 3 years today, and this market is much different. I'm starting to see that the counter offers are not even multiple counter offers. Many people are writing offers as just a single counter offer because the timing is that the demand is that weak. Buyers are It's becoming a normal market right now, guys. It's not a seller's market. Sure, the inventory is still lower than what it was pre-pandemic, but at the same time, because of the days in the market, because the prices are softening in many in the mid-level homes and the upper luxury homes, you're seeing a softness in which buyers have a lot more leverage to write the terms and conditions that they want to write. So that's the one of the good things about shopping today is I don't like to shop with 20 or 30 counter offers and not knowing the certainty or having a low chance of getting acceptance. and having to shop at 50, 100 different homes just to get my offer accepted. I would much rather purchase at a 7% rate today and compete against only maybe one offer. Okay. That is how the perspective and the language you should conversate if you want to convince a buyer to buy and encourage them to get back into the spring market right now and buy a home before the market becomes a lot more flooded with other buyers. So if you can just learn your techniques of selling and sales, I think that makes sense. You purchase today, and what Scott always says is you marry the property at that price point today, that maybe that $1 million home that I love, I can still write the offer, 10% under, roughly 910,000. And in most markets, that 9, 10% discount won't even be considered. But that 10% discount will very likely get some activity. They'll send you a counter offer and you can just, play on your negotiation skills and hopefully get get a larger chance of acceptance because that other listing agent has no one else to talk to. Okay, they're just doing open houses, desperate, waiting for an offer. And I hope you just understand how to leverage the days on market, the desperation of the listing agent, the seller's asking price, and determine if it's realistic or not. And you have a much better chance of securing and locking in and marrying the price of today, and you're just dating the rate that you have. Marry the price, date the rate. The rate might be 7%, but next 12 months, you just refinance if you find the market improves and lending becomes a little bit more, the interest rate becomes lower. So who cares if you pay 12 months or 18 months of higher rates? But you secure the price at, for example, that $1 million home at 910. That same $1 million home in 2 years when the rates are drop, that $1 million home might be 1.1 million. So who knows what's going to happen, but that's the spin and perspective that you should kind of have and in guiding your clients. I think it helps a lot because it makes sense. There's any questions on that? Um, let's see here. Nothing else? Okay, great. Thank you for that spiel. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next portion. And there is an article here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but if you wanted to read about the insurance crisis and there's lawsuits going on over collusion and the wildfires, I'm going to share that link to you because it's an interesting read. And I think it's worthwhile to understand that many homeowners are suing the insurance carriers. I don't know how it's going to make a difference on the markets or claims, but obviously there's a lot of people who are being denied their claims or unhappy with the way that they were non-renewed. Now, the other links of great videos and classes, I already emailed to you yesterday night. So check that email for some classes that are coming up this week, as well as some videos. May 1st, next week, is going to be Cinco de Mayo for the West San Gabriel board. So they will have a nice games and breakfast meeting. So that's for West San Gabriel news. They have a multicultural global night. If you want to try different foods around, just giving you a teaser for what's going on in May. And they're also honoring Pauline Lam and the board of directors on December 5th. Next year, 2026, Pauline Lamb's named West End Gabriel president. They do have a really good Ginny Field Learn to Negotiate class. I just met Ginny Field last week at a West San Gabriel broker meeting, and she is an excellent speaker. She teaches really driving you to inspire you to be better, to improve your professionalism, to learn to consult and be stronger in how you negotiate. So she has done it herself and encourage you to take her 2-day class and you can click on that link with West San Gabriel. So just giving you an idea of of that upcoming schedule. Okay. And as far as what are the other things that I wanted to point out to you, this is interesting if you're into tax like me and taxation and how tariffs are going to impact um, our economy and real estate. This is the NAR edition video of what the 2025 tax reform is going to look like for us and what they're doing to lobby for us, as well as there's talks about Trump trying to remove middle income households like $200,000 and less household income from paying any income tax. So I believe Trump is trying to put together a plan. I don't know if it's going to go through or not, but I definitely want to share this link with you. So let me get into the chat box. And the link right here is for tax reform and what the things that are on the agenda is specific towards real estate. Okay. So I'm not going to share that anymore. We talked about the updates, but just to give you an overall picture, this is the entire California region and what's going on in terms of the median price. So you can see month-to-month pricing is here. Let me see what month. This is March. This is the latest one that I could find, and you'll find that home sales slightly are on an uptick, 5% year over year as of March, and unsold inventory is about 2.9 months. That's normal, 3 months. And the days on market as of March is 22 days, but today is slightly upticking. Okay. So as far as the next news I want to talk about, I wanted to talk about the quick guide, open house do's and don'ts. So hopefully you see my screen right here. Let me make this a little bit larger. In the last several, I don't know, since the beginning of the industry that I've been in here in 2005, agents have always been very welcoming and helpful to other agents and saying, "Oh, would you like my help to host open house for you?" And many agents give consent. A listing agent sometimes is maybe only wants to work one day, they can't do Sunday, or maybe they have a lot on their plate, and a listing agent tends to be very busy. So I can tell you that it's been very common to go to an open house, and half of the time of the open houses, I am greeted by someone other than the listing agent. Some of you have volunteered to do open houses for a colleague. Some of you have done it for another listing agent from another firm. This quick guide, which I also will share with you in the link, let me get the link right now, is something that you should keep in mind and understand as best practices, and I'll give broker guidance on. Okay, so give me a second. Let me get this link to you so you can put it in front of you as well. And let's talk about it. So there are always risks of doing open house for another person, as well as you as a listing agent if you let someone else do it for you on a home that you were responsible as a listing agent to secure, to make sure it's locked, make sure nothing's stolen or damaged, and or make sure that all the lights are turned off and the water is turned off and not causing any expenses or an unnecessary risk to the owner. So the question is, can I host an open house for another brokerage? It is allowed depending upon your own broker. Okay. So if it is your listing, you can certainly host your own open house. But if it's a colleague in your own brokerage, yes, you can do it also because the liability still falls on the listing agent and the same listing broker. So if it's within the same company, you can do it. Okay. And the best practice is not the CAR. This is CAR's recommendation, not to do it by another brokerage, let's say ABC Realty down the street. And the reason why you don't want to do this is because there are legal risks, liability, whether or not the seller has given consent, insurance coverage. These are just some of the topics of what could happen. Okay. Now, as for me, if you're the person hosting the open house, your risks are less than the listing broker's risks. Because at the end of the day, what's going to happen? Well, let's just say someone trips and falls on the property. Okay. That's going to be a claim against the seller. It's going to be a claim against probably a cross complaint against the brokerage for not advising of an unsafe trip hazard. And sure, the hosting open house agent might also have some risk as well because maybe they didn't watch out or put a caution sign. There's a lot of variables that could happen, but liability is a big concern. So that's always something you should keep in mind is is whether or not the seller has been informed. So keep in mind, if you allow someone to do open house for you, are you getting seller's consent that someone that other than yourself, if you're a listing agent, is going to be at the property for 4 hours? Does the seller even know that that you're not going to be there? So my best practice guidance for you is to inform them of the name and the your colleague's name or who's going to be hosting, so that way they know who's there, who's responsible, and whether or not you trust them or vouch for them or what's your marketing plan. Okay, it's important for you to discuss. Now, do all open house visitors need to sign a form? So you invite them to sign the open house visitor non-agency form as a common greeting. This will protect you and it confirms that they are aware you only represent the seller as a listing agent. If they refuse to sign, then you can hand them a printout of the buyer non-agency agreement. I am not your agent. This form is to inform you. I cannot answer your questions or detailed information. And these visitors are also not required to sign the buyer non-agency agreement, but you've given them a handout of it informing them. Okay? And you just make a note in your file that you gave a BNA printout to 6 visitors who refused to fill out the open house non-agency form. That's your steps. If you don't have to deny them access, you can just let them in and make your notes. But if you don't tell visitors they cannot visit the property unless they sign a buyer representation agreement with you, okay? They still can get access, but they just can't get the service. Um, so don't force them to sign and become your agent required for just this one specific property. You can request it, but you can't force them. So don't put that pressure on them. And the BRBC form is here. So that's just some guidance from CAR. Now, if they are represented by another agent, you do not need to demand them give you a copy of their buyer representation agreement either. Do not do that. That's sensitive information, a contract between a buyer and a buyer's agent only. Only mid-escrow can it be requested. If the visitors are already represented by an agent, should I still force them to sign the open house non-agency form? Just ask them to write their agent's name. That's what you should do. Okay? That's very simple. And write your agent's name. They don't have to give their phone number or email to you. Okay, so this quick guide is very useful, and I thought it was just helpful because I know that's a great way still to meet people, meet prospects, and get yourself a potential new lead. So if you are interested in this quick guide, I'll share the link, and then lastly we'll get into the our listings. Any questions so far? All right. So new listings wise, let's go into my MLS. Hopefully someone say yes. You can see my CRMLS. Let's talk
Yes,
about,
yes, yes.
thank
We
you,
can see.
Julia. So let's talk about our newest listings from the days on market. And I wanted to announce 6841 La Presa Drive in San Gabriel. Brand new listing, 1 day on the market for 1.498 million. This is a project that has development potential. I know it is right here, North San Gabriel, north of Doherty Road, and this has San Marino school districts in this address. So if you have anyone looking for a San Marino school district under 1.5 million, you have speak with Daniel Wong. This is his listing. I know he just closed this one with his buyer, and it's on the market. So inside, it does take some original condition and some original features. But for 1.5 million, you can get San Marino Schools here. All right. Our next listing is 4440 Forsyth in Paseo, Ontario. Condominium for 658,000, 3 bedrooms. This is a brand new listing with let's go down here, Laura Liu and Robin Fruth. So this is in Ontario. Talk to her for 658,000. Seller's very motivated. I did think they actually had a very good price. So talk to Laura and Robin on their listing. Looks very nice inside. Next listing we'll talk about is Tustin. This is a business opportunity restaurant. As you can see with the range hoods, this is like a Korean barbecue type of situation with hoods, hot pot operators. So this business was the 2022 began. They're paying about 10,000 a month. Talked to Laura Liu on this business opportunity, and yeah, just letting you know this one's for sale in Tustin for you restaurant owners over there. 1228 Temple City Boulevard, Unit A in Arcadia. A, a newer townhouse built in 2023 for rent. This is a 4,700, 4,750 asking rent for a large, almost 1,800 square foot tri-level for relatively brand new. This is a very lovely community, great location, just move-in ready and very beautiful. I believe this is listed with Henry Liu. Yes, it is. And talk to Henry if you have anyone interested in renting out. This is not too bad. $2.65 for a newer townhouse. 8765 Cedar Point Court in Rancho Cucamonga is for rent, $3,440 per month, 2003 construction. And this lovely home it does also have move-in ready. It looks very nice and warm and comfortable. Talk to Cherry Wong on her new listing for rent in Rancho Cucamonga. Okay, and our next listing is 152 Lemon Avenue in Monrovia. The unit A is for sale. Two bedroom condo. Just 1 week, and this has just went pending. So congratulations to Jerry and Connie Snyder, Jerry Baker. This is their listing. I think it's actually going to be closing in 10 days. 417 Margarita Avenue, Unit 1, Alhambra, for rent. A 3 bedroom for only $2,700 a month. And this is the unit number 3 location. This rental has carport and vacant, move-in ready, move-in ready. Talk to Jennifer Huang, if you have anyone interested in leasing out this one as well. And 354 North Mission Drive, San Gabriel. This is a nice property for sale. For 1.7 million, you can get a 10,000 lot, 5 bedrooms, 4 baths. This is a really good deal, I feel, because the area and location is excellent, and you're still getting a 10,000 lot and a 3,000 square foot home. So, if you have anyone looking for a nice North San Gabriel home, the 578, let's see who's this listing agent, Jennifer Huang, about this new listing. Okay. And 4032 Cresthaven in Westlake Village for sale. This is Mei Zhang, and this beautiful $2.8 million home is on the market. So 4032 Cresthaven is a gorgeous dream estate. You can see inside it has very high vaulted ceilings. It's in immaculate condition inside. I've taken a look with May on this and really believe that many unique custom features about this elegant, luxurious home in Westlake Village. So if you have any high-end buyers out there, you can see this is a very unique, charming home with a lot of character for only 5 bedrooms and 2.88 million. Mei Zhang. And just lastly, we have 100 West Arthur Ave in Arcadia for sale, $2 million for this 2,800 square foot home. They're having open house this weekend, and just wanted to put it in Helen Xiong of Coldwell Banker Dynasty Arcadia. Talk to her if you have anyone looking for this Arcadia type of $2 million home. It's a very lovely home with a lot of potential. Okay. All right. And let me get to my closings and then we'll end today's sales meeting. Okay, so in terms of closings, let me get this expanded. Baxter Springs is Cherry Wong. She just leased out this nice, beautiful, newer home, 3 bedrooms for $34.95 per month. Congrats to Sherry Wong. And 113 Cascade Creek in Beaumont. Nice little house for rent. And this was leased out with Jennifer Huang for $2,600 per month. And 11105 West Hondo Parkway in Temple City, $831,000 was the sold price of this 2 bedroom home with a 13,000 lot in North El Monte. Congratulations to Jackson Wong for getting this for your client. And very proud of 8765 Cedar Point, Rancho Cucamonga, just closed. $750,000 for this nice newer single family. And Cherry Wong just closed that one as well. And then they put it on the market for rent. Same thing right here. Cherry Wong, this is the same property. This was the closing, and then the buyer investor put it on the market. So good job to Cherry Wong. She got this closed and helped her buyer get it at the asking price. Jing Chiu Liu rented out 12418 Magnolia Street in El Monte for $3,100 per month. And this was rented out quickly. Good job, Grace. 419 Norwood Place in San Gabriel just leased out for $2,800 per month. 2 bedrooms for Helen Ma. And 2423 Cordoza. This is a for sale with Roland Heights for $1.12 million. Very beautiful property. Just closed with Jerry and Connie Snyder Baker. 2423 Cordoza. And in San Dimas, 127 Baseline just rented out, $2,300 per month. Very happy to see Sylvia Ramos get that leased out right before she went to Sacramento. And 6841 La Presa Drive, San Gabriel. This is a closing with Daniel Wong for his client. And lastly, let's see here. 1200 Walnut Grove, Unit E in Rosemead, just leased out. This is a nice new listing with Lorena Liang. Okay. And I think the last one I'll do here is 7553 Elena in Rancho Cucamonga. 483,000 for a two-bedroom condo. Great job to Connie Snyder Baker. Does anyone have any coming soon or needs and wants? Um, if not, that'll bring us to the end of the training. Elaine Tran just closed 3820 Daleview Ave. Just want to give her shout out and credit. She got it closed at 8:45. If you have any help or needs or questions, I'll be here for you. Other than that, make this a great week and enjoy Cinco de Mayo. And the May is the peak selling season. So hopefully you can use some of those tips that I shared with you in the beginning to have meaningful conversations and really just inspire your clients to get back into the home selling, buying or selling activities and get into the right mindset and consult them through the process. I think they need you more than ever right now to have a good, honest, transparent, professional realtor than ever. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you.